What was the moment that we shared together that I will never forget is when Brandon was born in the hospital. When I looked at Brandon, I looked at her, and Brandon looked just like her when she was born, and we both started crying together, and I'll never forget that moment.
I couldn't just tell you one just moment. Like, we always have special moments, like every day, like all the time, 24/7. We always just laughing, giggling, having a good time.
Back in our business class, we used to have a lot of fun. We took trips. We did interviews together. I was the president, she was the vice president. We was holding it down back then in that class. We had a lot of fun.
And this is what she came home in from the hospital too. She had a little red bow on her hair with her little piece of hair, like a little tiny ponytail. And that was my Christmas present, the best one I ever had.
One of the most memorable places was when we went to Niagara Falls. That was our first time together, witnessing them falls at the edge and watching the water come down. It was just incredible. Another memorable moment was when Lisa received her master's degree. Walking across that stage, so much weight was just lifted off of her. Now that was probably the most memorable and most happiest moment.
Well, it wasn't just me and Lisa, but the moment I remember the best is when she married you and how happy she was. Never forget that, man. She was beautiful and she beamed all day long.
Well, I know this is a joyous occasion, but the one moment I'll never forget is when our dad passed at the VA hospital. And we were all there. And it was just a shock. And we couldn't believe it, but we were kind of at, you know, our minds was at ease because he wasn't suffering no more. And, you know, he was at peace, and that's what he wanted. And, but we all shared a moment together, me, her, my mother, and my brother. I'll never forget, at that hospital together, standing by his side after he had passed away.
The moment that I shared with Lisa that I'll never forget, I remember this was during when we were coming up as kids. Me and my brother had to go stay with them one summer because my mother was having these headaches real bad. So in light of that, we had these big wheels on a green machine or something, you know what I mean? But she lied and said that, Pat said that we could ride up to where Wheels was at. It used to be a Wheels, and I think it was a Farmer Jack up there in the township. Anyhow, make a long story short, we rolled up there and got a vicious beating listening to her once again. So, yeah, I shared a many moments. That's just a lighter one that we shared together.
One of the moments that Lisa shared with me that I'll never forget is when she met Nate and she came over and said that she was going to get married, and we talked about it and the fact that you were in her life and Brandon was now going to be a part of Nate's life was very special. And just to see the upbringing and the fact that Nate adopted Brandon, I'll never forget. That was a special moment for me.
Well, there's been a couple. The one I'm gonna tell you about this time is when she was a teenager. I came home from the service. She was dating this young man named Sean. Sean and her got in some kind of argument, whereas he slapped her. Me and my brother went to his mother's house, banging on the door, trying to get him to come out so we can do him up right. Never came out, nobody ever came to the door. 3 days later, I come home, Who's sitting on the couch, hugged up with Sean? Lisa. I looked at her, I looked at him, and I walked back out the door. I don't know who's more embarrassed, me or her.
But I can remember one of the most embarrassing moments was in that business class, her and another student had an altercation. Lisa got so mad. She was red, she was ready to fight, she was ready to kick that girl, but I had to step in between them to keep them from going at each other. She finally calmed down and we worked that out, but that was one of the embarrassing ones because I had never seen Lisa that upset, especially her face was turning really red. I was like, oh my God, Lisa's gonna kick this girl, but they wound up working through it.
And I don't know about embarrassing moment with her, but the most embarrassing moment she probably seen me was, I was at, it was summer camp. I was in like 3rd or 4th grade, and I was always about to go swimming. I love swimming with all my friends, and I ran in the pool with my jeans on. Like I just jumped in the pool with my jeans on still, and I forgot that I had them on. That was pretty embarrassing.
The most embarrassing moment that I can remember is out at Belle Isle, being out of Belle Isle, playing egg toss. I think me and her was on teams, and you know, we were doing good at first, but you know, she thought she had it, and her hands just clapped together, and the egg, I think, hit her right in the chest, and it splashed everywhere, you know. So yeah, I know she was embarrassed, but you know, we was all good fun. We all had a good time. So that's one thing I never forget, you know.
The most embarrassing moment, I would say there were several, and I think one of the most embarrassing moments had to do with us playing in the yard in the back. I would have to say it had to, the one that I'm thinking of is when we were playing ball in the back, and I've always been a tomboy, and I think I threw the ball and it hit her in the face, or was it the ball hit me in the face? And that was pretty embarrassing. That's all I can think of, because we didn't really have too many embarrassing moments, but just, you know, not trying to get hurt, that was embarrassing.
As a young teenager, sis was busy, very busy. She had a lot of boys chasing behind her. Seemed like they was all in love with her. Seemed like she wasn't in love with none of them.
Used to fight a lot. I used to tell her, you know, you got to stop that, but Lisa had a temper back then.
They was fighting for her, getting beat up for her. And, you know, she was really energetic, you know, just always just kind of busy.
And she was my little sister, but she was a tomboy, and I hated when she really turned into a girl and started wearing dresses and everything. But she was a sweetheart. She just liked to fight a lot as a little girl.
One of her good friends, my wife, was her running buddy, and they did a lot together. So, but as a teenager, yeah, she was busy, real busy. She done toned it down a lot in her older years, but she. I wasn't here the whole time for teenage years. I was in the service. When I got home, I think she was like about 16, 15. So, yeah, she was in rare form. Kind of tomboyish, you know. You know, Lisa would get out there and do it all, you know. So, yeah, that's what I remember. Sis, again, I'm proud of you. You know, you my little sis. You know, you take care of business, you know. When you put your mind to something, you go after it and you do it. I mean, to describe you, I would say you don't play, you firm but fair. You always willing to help, lend a helping hand when somebody needed, and I think that's where your blessings come from. You know, you good people, you're Capricorn, just like your brother. And I love you, and I'm proud of you.
Well, cuz, this your 45. We'll be the same age for about a week. For 1 week. But it's a blessing that you're here, because a lot of us ain't here. You know what I mean? I love you. I hope I make your party. If I don't hold it against me. I'm working. Not using that as an excuse, but I just have, that's part of me and you. I gotta do what I gotta do, you know what I mean? And that's just what I'm doing now, what God allows me. So have a beautiful 45th birthday. If I can't be there, I love you and I will call you and talk to you. All right, cuz, peace.
Sorry. I need you to put this on there. Hey, it gets you in the eye. Sorry about that.
The one thing I would tell Lisa, I'm gonna do this one over. She is supportive. I'm gonna start over, okay?
Now that was this. Now that was okay. Now that was definitely a hot. Now that was definitely a highlight of my life. I hope it was as special for me as it was for Lisa. Special for Lisa as it was. I don't know what to say. Okay, let's do it again. We get it all in this interview. Getting all the comedy. Right. Okay.